or HSAs, so that these are portable, that when a person leaves the employee of that company, they still have a pot of money and they still have some kind of security with them to go along. These are the kind of ideas that are going to change the dynamic of the system, because as clearly been stated, all we're talking about so far with leadership's plans that they've been presenting is how to ensure everyone has an insurance, not how to make health care affordable for all Americans. And the only way you can do that is by allowing the consumers to take responsibility, to have choices, to do the comparison shopping, and that's the entire program in Utah. It's a defined contribution approach. So the employer gives money to the employee, and the employee can then go online and look at everything that's out there and pick what is important for them, not necessarily what the company is offering. And a small business that can't afford to do that can now give the employee money. They can add with their own money if they want to and go out there and pick what is available from what are the options out there. And we can even expand that wider. That's the only way you get competition that will have the effect of adding pressure on the system to lower the price and to increase the quality. Look, we do that all the time. It is cheaper today to get your nose fixed than ever before because it's not covered by insurance. Individuals negotiate with doctors for medical services, and the costs have come down. Laser eye surgery is cheaper today than ever before because employees negotiate with doctors and the prices are coming down. Why don't we allow that system to work in the other ways? And that's what these other programs are talking about, of allowing people to be empowered to make choices for themselves. They are competent and capable of doing it, and with that kind of market forces now in the system, the cost will come down. But it has never happened when the government has decided to step in and force those costs to come down. It didn't work with Medicare. It hasn't worked in foreign countries. And the real fear is if you're not destroying jobs, you're destroying the quality of health care, because the only other option you are left with is minimizing what can be given to an individual, denying services. That's not where we want to go. But unfortunately, if we only have this one bill that the leadership wants to put forward here, that's the end result of that bill. We need to beg leadership to allow other debates and other options to be fully vetted on this particular floor. Now, I may have gone too far off for what your initial question was, but that's still the bottom line, is we should be empowering people with options and choices. That is not what the leadership of this House is trying to do with their particular bill. And that's why we need to bring these other bills to the floor for open discussion and open debate and an open vote. I yield back to the gentleman from Colorado.
Thank you, Congressman Bishop. Congressman Thompson, there's a great deal of discussion, particularly among seniors, that are very concerned about changes in their health. Is their health care specifically going to be rationed? And when we look at the fact that we're stripping hundreds of billions of dollars out of Medicare to fund the public option, and the fact that that Medicare has solvency problems of its own, is projected to run out of money in 2017. And so then we have a commission, if they revert to the public option, the services that are allowed to be provided in the public option are going to be defined by bureaucrats. It's not going to be about a doctor-patient relationship in terms of what's going to be provided. It is going to be, there's a commission, I believe, that is established to decide what services will be provided in the public option. And seniors are concerned because 25% or more of health care is used in the latest stages of life. And so what does that mean for them? And maybe you could address that.
Well, thank you. And actually the Commission is a body of individuals, but even more frightening to me is just the one lone bureaucrat, the Health Insurance Commissioner, as defined within House Resolution 3200. And as we worked our way through this 1,000-plus bill in the Education and Labor Committee over a course of 20 hours back at the very end of July, I found that many times there was so much left undefined, and everything was referred to according to the Health Insurance Commissioner, the Health Insurance Commissioner, the Health Insurance Commissioner. Well, you know, our health care is, there's probably few things that we could debate on this floor that's more intimate than our health care. And certainly few things are as a larger part of our economy. And in our colleagues who were here just the previous hour from the Progressive Caucus, talked about how those of us who oppose their health care plan, those of us who would support more smart government solutions, more free market solutions to health care, that we have these scare tactics, and one of them is rationing. Rationing could never occur. Rationing just won't happen. Well, I got news for them. Rationing happens today. And where does it happen? It happens first and foremost under the government plans. Let me tell you about Medicare Part B. Part of my background is, I've had the privilege of working with older adults for my entire career in rehabilitation services. The last many years of my career, 15 years, I worked in skilled nursing as well. And I became licensed as a nursing home administrator. And I talked briefly about the cuts to Medicare Part B. And Medicare Part B is slated for additional cuts of $130 billion. And Medicare Part B, you think about the individuals who come into a nursing home. They come there because they're the sickest of the sick. They're there because they don't have any other alternatives in terms of the care, the health care that they require. They have intense needs. These are folks who have just a lot of very intense needs. And today, the government, under Medicare Part B, if you need therapy services, it arbitrarily puts a number. There's a maximum amount of dollars. And now I've been out of that for about 10 months, but it was somewhere around $1,800 a year, $1,800 to $1,900 a year of therapy services. Arbitrary number. Now that's rationing in my mind. It doesn't matter the fact that you have maybe suffered a stroke, or you had fallen, or you have a debilitating weakness that you develop. Once you max out on that Medicare Part B benefit, that's it. That's the upper limit of what you receive. And so we have rationing today, and rationing occurs under one of the current government programs for Medicare Part B. So I don't know when you look at, I've worked in the inpatient hospital side for almost 30 years as a part of my practice. As I said, a 2 to 4% margin is a banner year. Okay, and out of that, you want to be able to, out of that 4%, give cost of living adjustments so you continue to retain the best and the brightest. Personally, if somebody's going to use a scalpel on me, I want them to be the smartest person in the county, and we want to be able to recruit and retain those individuals. So 4% margin. Most of my hospitals, I would say, are probably not doing that well, and most hospitals across the nation are probably challenged for not doing that well. And then you have skilled nursing facilities where, honestly, nobody's getting rich operating skilled nursing facilities. They're providing good, compassionate care. They're treating people with intense needs. And yet those are slated for significant cuts, specifically in skilled nursing. $14.6 billion is the designated cuts. Now, this is out of the Senate Finance Bill, the Baucus bill, Senator Baucus's bill. And so those cuts have to come somewhere, and they're going to come out of services. They're going to come out of they won't come out of the compassion, because the people that work in those areas, they're truly dedicated to serving the needs of older adults and people with needs. But they will come out of the care. Those dollars have to impact access to services.
Thank you, Congressman Thompson. Thank you, Congressman Bishop, and we had Congressman Lamborn from Colorado, Doug Lamborn, earlier, and Congressman Polis as well, talked about these issues. I certainly hope that we can have a bipartisan solution on what I think is a very critical issue. And that really needs to involve both parties of Congress in a negotiation that we don't have right now. And I think that's great tragedy that it hasn't been a bipartisan process. But I believe that there are market-based solutions that will not endanger this economy in terms of creating unemployment through the burdens on small business and driving the deficit and driving the debt of this country beyond what it is today. And from the Republican point of view, thank you.